All right.
All right. What's up, guys? It's Nick and Mike over here, and we're just doing a short video for you guys, just to look at where to from here, because obviously everyone's panicking and a panic station and not knowing what to do. And there's a few problems that we want to address, and we want to tell you about where we want to go and where we want to take you guys with us, and how we want to do it. So, yeah, first of all, we want to just run over to USI and what they've been doing lately. I don't know, Mike, do you want to say a couple of words on that before we rip over to the screen?
Yeah, sure. It still doesn't seem like everything is complete on their end. Some of the numbers aren't adding up from what I can see, and some of the people in my team. And as far as I know, there's some people that don't even have all the options or screens in the back office that we're able to see. So I'm hoping that that's something that that they'll finish. Obviously, we didn't get the email saying that they have completed the updates, so that's a positive, which means potentially they're still working on it. But yeah, as far as things that have happened and where we're at now, it's definitely not the same beast it was once. So we're going to look at, I believe we're going to look at some of the numbers and how they compare to other things that are going on out there, and maybe we can find something that makes a little bit more sense, or kind of gets us back on track to where we were before, or at least close to it.
Yeah, exactly. So I know a lot of you guys were earning quite a bit of money daily, and it was pretty amazing when it was happening, and we're all happy, and then all of a sudden, bam, and it's gone. So what we want to try and do is find the quickest, easiest, safest, and most ethical way to get what we had back again. And just touching on what Mike said, I was with one of my team today, and we went through her numbers and so on and so forth. And from what we can understand, the rebuys are not yet calculated for. So that's where we're at the moment. So that's what it's looking like, guys. So if your numbers aren't adding up, that's probably why they're not finished. And like Mike said, we came across some guys today that had no data in their back office at all. So that's definitely still happening. So anyway, I'll just jump over to the USI screen anyway, and we'll just do a quick run through on what to look for and why our results might be different than yours, and so on and so forth. So just quickly, I'm just going to share my screen here. Oh, can you still see my screen all right?
Yeah, I can see yours.
I have no idea what's going on here. That was definitely not the screen I wanted to share. Where is it? It's completely gone. I want that one. Here we go. Okay, sweet. Right, so here we are in the USI Tech back office. So this page here is just a bunch of guff, right? You've got this number here, which is going to equate to the same on the dashboard. Obviously, you guys should know your way through the menu by now. Over in the dashboard, and this is changing daily, so I've noticed lifetime ROC. This is all off the 2.0 packs, okay? 2.0. If we're going to get to this in a minute, but this is all for the 2.0. So I bought one package just to see. I won't be buying any more. Okay, so this is basically the front end. Now over here, you guys should see numbers in here if you haven't already withdrawn what you put in, and then that will equate to how much you've put in less anything that you've withdrawn. Okay, and down here are the withdraw numbers. So this is how many withdrawals, and this is how many partner rebuys. Now some of you guys will not even know what we're talking about when we say partner rebuys, but we used to be able to distribute packs internally, and that's what that is about. Okay, so these numbers here equate to more than what I put in, which they do. So these here we thought were rebuys, but I'm not 100% sure. So could potentially be pending withdrawals and commissions and so on and so forth. But it could end up being different for each person. We really don't know. So until we are told that the updates are finished, we're kind of at the mercy of USI. So now jumping into here to the 1.0 packs, you click on this blue text here and it'll take you through to this back office, and you can see us up here. Now they've just added in this tracker here as well. So this will track how much has been paid back of your 1.0 packs. Okay, here is if you're getting paid out on the package balance, and here is your commission balance. Okay, so if you're lucky enough to get them both, then it's going to speed up faster. Now, we figured out today also that the other day, this is the cost of a new pack. So they've done it so you don't have to buy a new pack, you can also withdraw it. So obviously that's come up from the other day because it was 0.005, but obviously if you're following crypto, you've noticed that Bitcoin has tanked a wee bit. So when you have 0.007, in either of these. Now, it's not both of them. It has to be in one or the other. So that's what we found out today. Blue text will come up down here. It'll say transfer your balance to the 2.0 wallet. You click that and it'll send your balance back over. So that's where we're at with USI. So on that note, I'm just going to hand over to Mike. Mike, do you just want to talk a little bit about Hashflare and our thoughts around Hashflare?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, personally, I really like Hashflare. The daily payouts actually, since Nick and I have gotten started with them, have been pretty consistently around 1%, which was actually better than USI even up until everything got changed when they were only paying out 0.75% every day. Which sadly I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to that moving forward with the 2.0. But so Hashflare has been pretty consistent. They've been around for about 3 or 4 years now. So they're pretty solid. They've been around. The only problem is that they're not completely transparent. It's hard to see, what's going on internally, where how much they're mining and stuff like that. The website is fairly easy to use. But there's a downfall that once you build it up, the minimum withdrawal is 0.05 Bitcoin, and it takes quite a while to build up to that if you're starting out with smaller amounts. But the great thing about it is, it's anyone can use it. No countries that I am aware of are banned from using it. Basically, you just transfer your Bitcoin, however much hash power you want to buy or hash rate. To mine, you basically select it and send over the appropriate Bitcoin. Once they receive it, they open up a contract, which is good for 1 year, and it'll mine out for that 1 year and give you a return. Theoretically, it's supposed to pay out more than you put in, especially as the price of Bitcoin increases. But it's not terribly user friendly. You kind of have to have experience with other mining sites to kind of read what it's doing and what it's telling you. It's definitely not as clear cut as USI Tech was. USI Tech, I'll give it to them. They made it very easy for just about anyone to get involved. They made it very user friendly, even though we don't feel like it's been that way. They made it easy to use in that, you click one button that says send this much Bitcoin to this address. And in the back office, they had videos and they had PDFs and basically broke everything down on how to do it. Now, see, with Hashflare, that's not the case. You kind of have to know what you're doing. You can see there's the buy hash rate there up in just below Nick's picture there. So you would click on that. There's a little slider where you can pick how much hash rate you want to buy. You also have to know what you want to mine. As you can see, they have.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
I've just started mining Ether through here as well because I wanted some ETH for ICOs. So, but you can just mine whatever you want. There's no fees on Ether as well. So here's my ETH rate, hash rate down here. Yeah.
Nice.
But there's a whole other bag of problems buying ETH because I can't withdraw until it's 0.1, which isn't a big deal. But, with a small amount of hash power, it takes a few days, or a few weeks probably. So just need to take that into consideration as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good. It works. They have an affiliate portion to it where you'll get a couple of commissions, but it's not like USI Tech was where you have multiple levels of commissions. Basically, if you get a direct, you get what is it, Nick, like 3% or something, or 5%?
On the tier. On this, do you know what? I don't actually even know. I think it's 5. It might be 6%. I've never really looked into it because I didn't really get into this for sort of a team building type thing. No, I don't. It doesn't even tell you. We'd have to go to the 31st, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
So basically,
But
as you can see, it's not the easiest, most user-friendly thing thing to
no,
use.
no, it's not. But I mean, we didn't use it for that. You know, we wanted an honest and fairly transparent mining company that had actually been around for quite some time. That was the goal, right? We weren't really too concerned about building a team. Yeah, and I refer.
Right.
There we go.
And I think it's only like maybe one, maybe two levels deep, which, if you want to build a big team, it's not really that lucrative to do it. So it's kind of, I don't want to say pointless, but
yeah,
it's kind of pointless to try to build a team on this because it's not conducive to it.
No, it is definitely only one level in there. It's actually 10%. I thought it was 6 or 5. So that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a great tool. Yeah, a great tool for mining, obviously. But if you're wanting to build a team, probably not so much.
And just to touch on why we're talking about mining is because there's been a lot of talk recently about trading bots or just manual trading, signals, stuff like that. And personally, and I think Nick would agree, that mining is the most consistent, most stable, most reliable form of building upon the cryptocurrency that you have. So if you have one Bitcoin to invest, I would say put that into mining because it may take longer to build it up, to double it or what have you, but it's stable, it's consistent. Whereas with trading, even if you're based on signals and you're not using a trading bot, in the current market, the way it's been actually since January. I mean, we had a good couple weeks last month where it started to come back a little bit, but then it tanked again, the last few days, and we're back below 10,000 USD. So, but with mining, you're still getting a consistent payout. Whereas if you were trading, there's no lucrative trades to be made right now in the market because it's just a sea of red. And I mean, everything is declining right now, so there's no way to make a profit on that. But with mining, you're still earning additional Bitcoin instead of losing.
And I think just, touching on what you said, sorry, I just realized I'm looking at my other screen. It looks funny. So I'll just bring you back over here. But, just what everybody's sort of saying is, these guys and these leaders, and I wrote a post about it on Facebook today because I'm getting really frustrated with it. And they're just out there looking for new opportunities to grab people, shove them in there. And people aren't really thinking about their team or their downline at all, you know what I mean? And I've been swept up in this before too, where I've been involved in, groups and things like that, where they'll literally have you sign up to 4 different opportunities at one time, and they fall over one after the other. And, these trade bots are a great example of that. So, everyone was in USI because USI was the greatest, and it was, and you had USI and you had BitConnect. BitConnect fell over. USI is limping along now. It's still going, but everybody ran from it, and they would just grab the next opportunity. But nobody's really looking into mining, which has just been sitting there in the background, ticking over beautifully the whole entire time. So, if you have a look and think about how much money you had in USI, and you had it in mining, the returns aren't quite as high. However, you would still be just ticking along and chugging along quite nicely. So, when we move along to talk about our next thing that we wanted to talk about, I thought we were going to get this done in like 10 minutes, Mike, but obviously that's not going to happen. We'll literally see the power of what's coming. So, Mike, do you want to intro us to the next one?
Okay, so since we're on the topic of mining, and Nick and I have been mining for a while, and to go on a little bit of a tangent when he's talking about these other leaders just pushing people into different opportunities left and right. A lot of these things that people that I've noticed that are trying to get other people involved in or recruit them, so to speak, so they can earn their commissions, they haven't really tested it, so they don't really even know what it's going to do. They know what the company tells them it's going to do, but they don't really know what it's going to do. And that's one thing with me. And actually, I think Nick's kind of the same mindset, where we actually like to test things out, and I like to test them out for at least a month to get some good data, in order to, before I start promoting something. If I'm going to promote something, I already know how it works. I've already invested my own money in it, and I've got some data that I can actually use to back up what I'm saying. And that's kind of what I feel is the difference between what we do as compared to some of these other so-called leaders that are putting people into these new opportunities that are popping up. Some of them are in pre-launch right now, and people are buying into it and not knowing what it's going to do. I mean, there's no historical data to back it up. But anyways,
yeah. No, that's very true, and I mean, we've had that conversation a couple of times, right? So, but anyway, let's try and move on to something. And the reason we chose this one as this is what we want to present to you guys is. Basically, this has been the transparency's there, the history's there, the support is there, and the consistency is there. So that's what we're moving into now. So go for it.
Yeah, Nick and I, we actually been involved with BitClub Network since, what was it, like December of last year?
Yeah, so, I think so. Like to the point I don't even really know my way around it entirely, like because it just does its thing. But yeah, you can see we've been in there for a long time anyway. So yeah, we've been in there for 8 pages.
So we've had So we've had several months to test it out, and I think a couple weeks back there was a few days of the pay that was missing. That they didn't pay out, even though the timer at the top, as you can see, it counts down and says when the next payout is. So you know exactly when you're going to get your payout. Unlike USI, where they just kind of, there was a general time of day where you would get it. This one actually has a counter because it's very specific, which is one of the things I like, because you can hold it accountable. Now again, a couple days ago, or about a week ago, some of the payouts weren't being applied to the account, but they're actually making some changes to the website, which they have posted on there. They say, hey, we're making some changes. Not all the numbers are going to look right. But they did make up for it. They went back, they sent out a communication and said, hey, we realized that, you weren't receiving the numbers on your back office showing you got paid out for these days. So we're going to pay you back. And they even gave us a little bit, what they call a bump. They even gave us a little bit extra as kind of a way of saying, hey, we're sorry, but here you go. Hopefully it wasn't a huge bump, but it was still better than nothing, and it was still a show of good faith on their part, which I really like.
That was actually a 4x bump, believe it or not. When we went back into the calculations, it was actually a pretty good bump.
No, that is really good. I didn't calculate it out. Obviously, when you don't have as much as I had invested in USI, you don't notice.
I know, exactly. That's why I don't even really know my way around it. But like you're saying, is it works, and it works consistently. And, one of the other reasons we just talk about transparency is, we can come onto the blockchain and we can see them, BitClub Network right here. They have 1.9% of the hash rate. So, that's a significant amount. The reason why we're telling you guys about this now also is currently they have about 480 petahash. So we've all been introduced to petahash around the whole USI thing. So that's what they have currently. They've paid for and have not delivered or added on to their network an extra 1,550 petahash. That's insane. So that's basically 3.5 times what they've got now. So currently, I've got some numbers here, and I know how everyone likes numbers. So if you're watching and you got through to this far, which I really hope you have, I'm just gonna read this straight off my script because I've already done the numbers. I've done them a couple of times just to make sure. So currently, we're looking at we're earning around about. No, I've made a mess of it. I didn't write down what we're at. Sorry, I did. We're making around 0.148% per day over 7 days. Now, this is the current amount. Okay, now I did the math on USI also, and over the current period, which was 36 days or something like that since the 24th of February, their average is only 0.15. Okay, so 0.148 is the average, the current average right now. Now, if we add on the 3.5 time bump or extra hash power that we're going to be looking at over the course, it's been delivered over the course of the next 4 months. And this is, keeping in mind, this is already paid for, and this isn't a story like we've heard before. So it's already paid for. It's been confirmed by BitClub management and so on and so forth. But we're basically looking at turning our 0.14 into about a 0.45% daily return, which basically smacks up USI's 2.0 packs. four times or 3.5 times. And that's 7 days a week. So that basically takes us out to 3.3% per week, which is a pretty good return, really. And, it's like it's not ridiculously high, like the 1% per day that USI had, but it's still pretty good. And then just coming
and a good point. Sorry, Nick. A good point about it not being ridiculously high, like USI Tech had, just brings up the point that Bit Club Network isn't overextending themselves, so it is sustainable. Unlike what USI claimed was sustainable, but we found out wasn't. Yeah,
exactly. That's right. So now we'll talk about the pricing a little bit, but we've got, myself and Mike have both got 3,500 USD in here. And, so we're looking at it's 0.48% per day. So we're looking at 3,500, 0.48% per day, 365 days. Now these contracts are 2 years. Okay. So 1,000 days actually, isn't it? Is it 1,000 days?
It's 1,000. Yeah. 1,000 days.
1,000 days. So
that's a little over 3 years actually.
Yeah. But basically, with a full reinvestment for, like we were doing with Rebuy, you can withdraw the stuff anytime as well, by the way. But say you decided you wanted to reinvest 7 days a week, we can do the calculations based around that. And that should spit out for us. You're basically, from your $3,500, you're making 16,500 return over 12 months, okay? And that's if you don't recruit, you don't do any of that. There is a commission structure and things, but we'll touch on that maybe in another video because that's not why we're building this. We're just looking at options and opportunities that are real and proven and not made up and not launched yet. So that's basically the power of compounding daily with BitClub anyway.
And also, when you look at that number and you see, okay, it's $16,596.96 over the course of a year. That's reinvesting 100% of that 3,500 over that time. But you also have to keep in mind that it's Bitcoin, so that we're talking at the current rate. So if you invest at the current rate today, whatever it is, I think it's maybe 9,300 or somewhere around there. Anyways,
it's just dropped again.
No, so
8,600.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're getting ready to test the new floor. So, but anyways, so we're talking Bitcoin, and there's a lot of different opinions that are out there. But Nick and I are pretty firm on agreeing with some of the experts that are saying that by the end of the year, it's probably going to be around 30,000 a coin. So, you take that into consideration. And then you basically say, okay, well, you got that 16,000, but then you multiply that by 3 if
exactly.
Bitcoin is like we expect it to, and that would actually be 3 times what you're looking at there. So instead of 16, it would be, let's say 15, 30, be more like 47,000 or so.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's a pretty good return right there. And then again, like we said, that's no extra, what do you call it? You haven't put any extra money in. You haven't built a team. You haven't bought your team in, which actually brings us to our next point with the team building. Mike, do you want to talk about, you guys are listening to this with myself and Mike here, and you're probably thinking, oh, you guys are recruiting our team. This is probably the most important part, and this is why we saved it for last. So
yeah, so there's been other top leaders out there that when they advertise something new, they put it out on their Facebook, and they apply it to everybody and say, hey, and then they get all kinds of people saying, okay, oh yeah, I'm interested, send me a link, I'm interested. And what they're doing, whether they plan to or not, is they start recruiting people that were under other people, and eventually the team structure is nowhere near what it was in the other opportunity that they had them in. And for me and Nick, we actually we like to try to keep things the same. We're not in it to try to get other team members from other people to make our team bigger than it was or anything like that. In fact, it'll probably be even smaller than it was moving forward, only because not everyone's probably going to want to be interested in this, or maybe not everyone wants to continue to follow our lead, which is fine. But what we propose is that anyone who's interested, follow up with whoever your direct sponsor is from USI Tech. We want to try to keep the structure of the teams the same as what they currently are. So that way we kind of replace USI, and no one is in a better or worse position than they were in before if they decide to move forward with BitClub Network. We want to try to keep everyone under the same people that they're under, so that way when commissions are earned and things are moving forward, it'll be similar to what it was in USI Tech. We don't want anyone to steal anyone's team members. We don't want to steal anyone's team members. So we want to try to keep it, and it has to work on the honor system a little bit. You know, I mean, we're not going to go out to each person individually and make sure they're signing up with their correct sponsor, but the goal is to have everyone, if possible. I mean, it's probably not possible, but it would be nice to be able to have everyone in the same downline structure that they're in with USI to keep everything as fair as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you're not sure, or if anyone comes to us, what I'm going to do is I'm going to personally reach out to my directs and approach them about this and see what they want to do, because I'd like to get them on board, even if they don't want to invest in it, but get them on board so that we can maintain that structure, because the last thing I want to do is, excuse me, have that structure just sort of blow up and, yeah, people get upset. I know they do, because, well, it's currently happening to some people right now, isn't it? So yeah. But I mean, to pretty much to wrap that up, we didn't want to keep you guys too long. We really only wanted to do it short. But you know, the key points are the mining has been around for a lot longer. It's a lot more sustainable. Trade bots are basically garbage. And it actually makes me angry that people are shoving these down other people's throats. You know, I spoke to a guy the other day. He's just got a big bunch of red bags. If you know what that is, great. If you don't, man, just stay away from it. Yeah, it's just about being sustainable, and it's about playing safe. You know, we want to play a little bit safer. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say, Mike.
Sorry. Yeah. Speaking of safe, so one thing to keep in mind with BitClub Network is they do not offer it to anyone in the United States. You can't even access the website if you live in the United States. But there is a way to still get involved if you live in the United States and you want to take part in BitClub Network, and that's called a VPN, Virtual Private Network.
That's right. And you've done that before anyway, haven't you, Mike? Obviously.
I have.
Yeah.
I have. There's tons out there. The one I use is $12.95 a month. There's some that are cheaper. There's some that are more expensive. The one I have, I like because I can download it to my phone as an app. It's real easy. You click it. You get to choose a location. You choose a location outside of the United States, and you can access the website no problem. And you can even put your money in there and start mining with them and move forward, if you will. Yeah. So. Keep that in mind, and if you want a referral for a VPN, I can send you mine. And if not, you can research them on Google, and there's tons of them.
Yeah, exactly. So just on that note as well, I mean, BitClub doesn't trade in the United States, which basically means they will not be served with any notices from the SEC. So awesome. So on that note, guys, yeah, please place your comments below if you have any questions. What we'll do is once we sort of get this all sorted out and see who is actually keen, we'll start doing weekly webinars like we were going to do before for USI. Obviously, we kind of left that up to others, and we probably shouldn't have. We should have really taken charge and done it ourselves. So we will be doing it this time around with BitClub, and I want to add, we're actually 2 tiers underneath. Well, myself and Mike, we're actually, I think, 1 tier underneath the one of the founders of BitClub anyway. So we're really close to the top. We can get information from them pretty much straight away through our chat. Which is really cool. And obviously you guys that come in will be part of that chat too. So if you have any questions, you're basically getting answers direct from the top, which is always cool. So thanks for your time, guys. Again, comments below. Please message either one of us if you have any questions. And hopefully we can rebuild everyone's little income generating machine.